1 in 7 Americans have kidney disease. And when you've got kidney disease, life sucks. And we're going to be talking about that and a lot more right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Patton. Joining me, as usual, is health coach Martin Patella. Hey, Martin, how are you doing?
It's really good. My kidneys are actually working fine. Thank you.
Yes, mine too. Before we get into that, there's two things I want to share with everybody. First of all, I am in Mexico, as you can tell by the vibrant colors behind me, and I'm in Playa del Carmen, and tomorrow morning, Hurricane Beryl is about to smash into the Mexican coast. Hopefully, it's going to be far south of me or far north of me, but I am right now at the northern edge of the band of where it could come. So,
yeah, 150 mile an hour wind. Let's find out if you can stand outside without being blown away.
Well, I made a joke to my Facebook friends that live here, and I said, let's all meet at the pier that goes out into the ocean at 7 tomorrow morning and see it and bring your own parachute. Rita, hi, how are you doing? Nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Rita.
So that was the first thing I wanted everybody to know. So if next week Martin is here all by himself, you know that I'm still floating in the air somewhere. I haven't yet come down.
I'd hate to lose you, Scott.
Thank you. I've had a couple close calls with hurricanes before in Florida, but nothing quite this close. And it's one of those things where you make the plans and you're here, and then you decide, well, let's just see what happens. So,
all right.
So I've been doing a fair bit of traveling, and the last month I've been mostly in Colombia, and I wanted to share something with everybody because I think it really has an important impact on how we view our health, illnesses, and healing. And I also really want to know, Martin, if you agree with my conclusions or I'm out to lunch. Martin and I do not always agree on everything, which is great. One of the things that I love about Martin is if he doesn't think I'm right, he doesn't hesitate to tell me. And of course, I'm not the expert on health. So this is what happened. I'm in Medellin, which is about 3,000 feet above sea level. So the air is a little bit thin, and it is very mild, not cold. It's shirt sleeve in the evening. It's, to me, the perfect spring day, but it's not necessarily really blazing hot, and it's not particularly humid. So I'm in that environment. I then fly to Cartagena, which is on the Caribbean Ocean, which is sea level and brutally hot and brutally humid. And I'm there for 3 or 4 days. Then I fly back up into the mountains, and I'm there for about a week. And then I fly back down to a different city on the coast, which is brutally hot and humid. And then I fly back. And everything is fine. The world is lovely and all the rest of it. And then I come to Cancun, which is a 4-hour flight. So now that's my third time up about 20, 30,000 feet in the air. And it's an air-conditioned plane that is freezing. And I don't know why, but I just didn't want to get up and get my jacket out of the overhead thing. So I spent 3 hours trying to sleep. The flight leaves at 4 in the morning. So my whole Cascadian rhythm thing is totally off. I arrive in Mexico, go through the stress of going through customs. Everything is fine. I feel fine. I'm in great health, no sniffles, no nothing. And about 4 hours later, my nose is like a faucet has been turned on. It just will not stop. But I'm still not feeling bad, right? So I think, you know what? I've been up all night. My nose is running. If I lay on my back, it drains this way. It's good. Plus, I'm tired. So I go to sleep. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I wake up at midnight. I am feeling awful. My head is pounding. My nose is still going. I'm not coughing or anything like this. Can't get back to sleep, but about an hour later, I'm back to sleep. I wake up about 8. So I've had almost 12 or 13 hours of really good sleep, and my nose is not running when I wake up, and I sit up, still not running, and then I stand up, and then it runs for about another hour. I go for a walk. It's hot and humid. The hurricane is coming. There's a little bit of stress. I have a breakfast of some eggs and protein and some beans, like a Mexican breakfast, and I walk for a little bit more. And I think I'm okay. Right now, maybe tomorrow I'm going to have a sore throat and coughing and hacking and everything else. But I just went through this whole period of like, uh-oh. And one of the things that I thought about was how many people, when they had the runny nose or didn't feel good, would have run to the pharmacy and got some sort of drug to fix them instead of being patient with their body, right? So I'm going to stop at this point, Martin, and share with us your thoughts.
Scott, congratulations on a successful draining. Your body is trying to get rid of excess, probably acidity, I would speculate, right? Like it's the mineral balances, and we have only 5 or 6 different ways how to get rid of things. Urinate, defecate, sweat, drain through the nose, throw up. Did I say sweat? That would be through the skin.
Yeah, you did.
So that's the story, right? Those are the egress pathways, as in how to get it out. So if your mineral balance is off and the kidneys won't cope, out it goes. And it was a successful detox, successful draining. One other way to speed this up, or just get rid of it quick, would have been to get yourself into a hot bath with a pound of baking soda. Another way, if you have the technology available, would be to get yourself with an Ionic foot spa, put your feet in it, and just drain the excess mineralization that way. But this was awesome. It was a beautifully described detoxification thing. I remember myself when I switched from stupid eating to vegetarian. It was all of a sudden I arrived, and mine was longer. It was 3 weeks, like somebody attached a faucet right here on my face, and it just kept draining and draining and draining. But it did stop. And of course, I was ready for it. I knew it was coming.
So as I was going through this process, first of all, it never, ever occurred to me to go to a drugstore. Like, I mean, that's usually like a long time away. But it reminded me of one of my first interesting, I'll put it this way, interesting interactions with a doctor. And I was in my 20s, and I had a really bad cold, really bad sore throat, really bad cough. Like I was just, and I put up with it for 3 or 4, I know I didn't go right away, 3 or 4 days, nothing was getting better. So I said, okay, I'm going to go see the doctor. So I went to see the doctor. He looked, and all the rest of it. And he says, yeah, like you've got a bad cold. And he says, I'm going to give you an antibiotic. Take it, twice a day for 2 weeks, and you'll be fine. And the thing I thought was, is this guy just giving it to me to shut me up, right? Because he knows first of all, you expect the doctor, A, to know everything and they don't, and B, to be able to fix everything and they can't. But it's not fair to the doctor, but they just get put under immense pressure. He goes, oh, doctor, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, whatever, right? Like, suck it up, buttercup, right? So I'm leaving with this prescription, and I thought, 2 weeks. If I did nothing, how would I be in 2 weeks? Probably okay. So I didn't get the prescription. And 2 weeks later, it's like, yep, I'm fine. It was well before 2 weeks. I'm fine because I'm a 20-year-old guy that runs around and is active. And, I'm not going to say I ate well particularly, but, I was healthy. So at that point, I thought, a lot of times the stuff we get isn't necessarily set up to help us as much as it is to shut us up, A, and B, some of the stuff that you get actually doesn't help and makes things worse. So we've seen examples of that.
Yeah, Scott, these flu type of things, these detox episodes, when you do nothing, they takes about 10 days. When you go for medical intervention, you're over it in 9.
You're over what?
You're better in 9 days. Right?
9 days. Oh, so 1 day difference.
Yeah, 1 day difference. Sometimes only a half a day difference. In fact, I remember on the package of this flu prescription affair, I can't remember the medication name, but it was written in there that it will shorten the typical flu by between 8 and 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there is a fine balance between like when you're sick and you really have to go to the hospital or see your doctor, and when you're sick and it's just, this is sort of a normal thing, and just, go through it. Drink.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought water, bottled water here in Mexico, and a big jug. And I was surprised this morning how much I just, it was just like, go, 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 go. Like,
well, remember, you drained it through the nose.
That's right.
You were down a quart.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny.
All right.
So,
but one more to say about that. Oftentimes this is mistaken for illness, but in fact, it's just the body draining stuff.
Right. And the other part of it is, like, a friend of mine had a saying, and it was, do the hard things and life is easy. Do the easy things and life is hard. Right. So
it's a beautiful line.
It really is, right? So it's hard when you're feeling awful to be nice, right? And there was a couple of times when I was in the hospital and my liver stopped and all the rest of it. And I thought, these poor nurses they get miserable patients all the time. I'm going to be nice. Yes. And I really was. And one of the doctors comes in and he looks at my chart, and he looks at me and he says, "They say you're a really nice guy." And they appreciated it, and they stuck me in a private room at one point because they were afraid I was contagious. And then when I was done, the nurses came in and they said, "Don't tell anybody, but the test came back and you're not contagious." And I look at them like, "Why not tell anybody?" Because they might move you into a room with 3 other people that are contagious. So we're just going to keep you in this room because we like you. And as long as we have the excuse that you could be contagious, you're going to have this beautiful room to yourself with a great view of the North Shore mountains of Vancouver.
Yeah. It pays to be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Benjamin Hampton is joining us. Hey, Scott, glad to see you, hang out with you here and see what's up. Thanks, Benjamin. Okay. Glad to see you.
All right. Well, let's just see if we can just produce something for the world to remember.
Right.
Which this is a cool story, right? I much appreciate what you're saying. And kidneys, right? We have kidneys on our headline today, and
right.
It's bizarre because kidneys function is taken for granted, and yet when that goes away, life gets miserable really fast and really awful.
That's right.
And for some strange reasons, the statistics say something like this. There are 2 million people in kidney failure on the entire planet, 800,000 of them in the United States, which means that that's about 10-fold density of kidney failure compared to the average on the planet. What are we doing here to do this? One, I think, is that we have the technology. I think we diagnose it and we treat it, and kidney dialysis is a big business.
Yeah.
Right? And here's what that life looks like. 3 times a week, or every 3rd day, I should say. It's a rotating schedule. So you'll be going in Monday, Thursday, and Saturday or something like that. And the first day when they do the dialysis, they overdraw the excess nutrients or minerals. So you'll be feeling crappy right after. Then the next day, you'll be about right, feeling okay. Then the next day, you'll be over toxic. You'll be feeling crappy. And then you go get another session. Right. So you go shitty, no, okay, shitty, okay, shitty. And so it goes.
Right. Terrible life.
And importantly, this, people who are in the GFR, and we'll explain it, below 15, they are on dialysis. The 5-year survival rate for people on dialysis is 35%. Yeah, 2 out of 3 are gone in 5 years. If you're lucky enough to get a kidney transplant, then you have different complications. but your survival rate now is 80%. So only 1 in 5 goes. The hard part is this. There
Only
are
1 in 5 dies. And
yeah, 1 in 5 dies.
Just casually, like just 1 in 5 dies.
Yeah, yeah. Which of your fingers would you like to live without?
Right.
And then one other important piece of data on that thing is that, what the heck did I try to say? Oh, there are 100,000 people waiting for a transplant, but there are only 20,000 kidneys available for the transplant. So
there's a Russian roulette
don't get one. They wait. They die waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about the different levels of kidney disease and then what you can do. But before we get into that, what I'd like to do, Martin, is just quickly go over what is the role of the kidneys, because oftentimes people don't really understand that, right? So I have a list of about 10, and maybe I'll just start it off and you can finish it. Or like I'll start each topic and you can just finish it. The first one obviously is waste removal. I mean, they do a lot of filtering, right?
Yeah.
And that should prevent the buildup of toxins. And you already said it, but when you go to dialysis, it takes everything out, all the toxins out. You feel good for a day, and then you've replaced all the toxins because that's what the body does. And the second one on the list is fluid and electrolyte balancing. So they regulate the fluid balance and maintain proper levels. So this is sodium, potassium, calcium, and they're, so basically if you're not looking after that, then you've got a whole pile of other problems that you're going to be having, right?
Yep.
And the next one is blood pressure. And blood pressure, of course, is huge. So it regulates that. It controls the blood pressure, managing the volume of fluids in the body. So if you're not doing a good job, you could be bloating up or you could be shriveling up, I guess, right?
Yep.
And red blood cell production. Oh, yeah. So if you don't have that,
there's a regulatory thing. There's this thing called EPA or whatever. What are the 3 letters for this?
What I have is erythropoietin.
Oh yeah, erythropoiesis.
Thank you for saying it properly. And that's a hormone that stimulates the production of red blood cells.
Right. And it's made in kidneys. Yeah.
And if you don't have it, your red blood cells count is down. And then bone health. So they convert vitamin D into its active form, and which helps calcium be absorbed into your bones.
Right. Yeah. There's this phosphorus calcium relationship. And if you have a phosphate problem, then you're going to have a bone problem. Yep.
And then pH balance, maintain the acid-base balance in the body. I think you talked a bit about that earlier.
Yeah.
Hydrogen ions and reabsorbing bicarbonate from urine. Yeah. Okay, so I don't understand that. Can you explain reabsorbing? First of all, why is there bicarbonate and why is it in the urine?
Yeah, okay. Well, so this is a resource management tool, right? The kidneys are a filtration device. And so what's going on here is the kidneys are separating the stuff we want to keep from the stuff we do want to get rid of. And for example, we call it urine, and the uric acid is the stuff that we want to get rid of. And so it's separating that. So it actually hangs onto sodium, about 99% of that. It hangs onto almost all potassium and so on. It does not want to get rid of things that we have worked hard to ingest. And so it's getting just enough water to make things flow and the metabolites that we don't want. And the 2 main metabolites, nitrogen, are essentially metabolites of protein digestion. And of course, we are a protein machine, protein body. So as we break down, we are actually dissolving the proteins that have become garbage. So some of that stuff needs to go and leave the body. Some of it is recycled, some of it has to go. And so you're watching, where your doctor is watching for albumin, which is one of the forms of amino acids in the urine. And if you have too much of it, you have a problem. The kidneys are filtering creatinine. 100% of it. It's getting rid of that. That's the function of working, muscle movement. I mean, heart beating, but especially muscles moving, muscles working. And it's having to filter that out. And that's the number one factor that they're watching. Are you getting rid of it successfully?
Cool. Okay, before we get any further into the list, we've got a couple comments and I wanted to address them now, just in case they don't stay for later. From Rita, I have a left ectopic kidney, kidney, and I'm going crazy trying to release bloating. I just started taking zeolite, good for you, and I'm not sure how much to take a day. Can you tell me? And then as a PS, my blood pressure is fine. Thanks for the question, Rita.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, ectopic is just sort of misplaced, like misshapen, right? There's just some kind of a, like you can have ectopic pregnancy, which means that the pregnancy is not in the uterus, but instead outside of it. The ectopic kidney is just somehow in the wrong place. I don't remember exactly how wrong, but it's somehow wrong. So that probably is affecting your function. I don't know. Release bloating. Well, I mean, my number one tool for release bloating would be the Ionic Foot Spa. We call it the third kidney. And it's based on the principle of osmosis. And the osmosis works this way. Wherever there's a higher concentration of minerals and a membrane in between and a lower concentration of minerals, the minerals will travel through the membrane into the lower density. So if your body, if your lymphatic system has an excess of minerals, toxins or useful minerals, whichever they are, it needs to retain water, because the answer to pollution is dilution. And so you need to retain water if there are too many minerals. So put your feet into the tub with the Ionic Foot Spa. There is an electrode in it that creates very low osmotic pressure. It's causing the demand for minerals, ions, and it sucks them out of your feet. That's why we call it the third kidney. That would be my quickest way to get your balance back. The zeolite is great in that sense that it binds industrial toxins, heavy metals, and ugly chemicals like fire retardants and Teflons and dry cleaning fluids and the likes, which is also very dangerous to the body. So to answer the dosage, we don't know what you can handle. Your body will tell you. Normal dose, if you're doing the powder, is 1 scoop 3 times a day. The reason you're doing it 3 times a day is because zeolite leaves your body in about 4 hours. So breakfast, midday, bedtime. If you can handle doubling down, then you're going to get better faster. So 2 scoops 3 times.
So Martin, would you recommend starting out with the recommended dose, 1 scoop 3 times a day, see how you feel, and then maybe go to 1.5 scoops?
Yeah, we don't want to cause any drama, right? If you overdo it, you'll feel tired, you'll have issues. And we don't need that.
Cool, thanks. There you go, Rita. Which reminds me, at the end of the show, when we finish covering what we want to cover about kidneys, we have a Q&A period. We're actually stop the recording. We don't stop the recording, but we stop the show, and then we continue on for 10, 15 minutes. If you've got any questions, can be on kidneys, can be on anything health related, because we're really here to help and be of service to you. So watch for that, or stay watching till the end. But if, like Rita, you've got a question, don't hesitate to pop it into the comments, and we'd be happy to deal with them. So getting back to our list, we're on number 7, detoxification. So kidneys eliminate drugs and toxins from the body, ensuring that harmful substances don't accumulate and cause damage. And then number 8 is they prevent chronic diseases. Healthy kidneys reduce the risk of chronic kidney disease. It can lead to serious complications, and we talked about that kind of at the beginning. And overall health. If you've got your kidneys working properly, it's linked to the health of other organs, and like the heart and the liver, and contributes to their overall health. And and you talked in the beginning about, if your kidney's not working, you got to go in dialysis 3 times. I had a cousin, my mom's cousin, was like 75 or whatever, and for 2 or 3 years went from the farm, 40 miles out of town into town to have his dialysis done, and it really wasn't very good. So
It's not a great lifestyle.
No. So you want to keep your kidneys healthy and strong, which means a balanced diet, adequate hydration, regular exercise, avoid harmful substances, and tune into our show every week.
Well, so speak of which, right? What you put in your mouth is first processed in your stomach, then your small intestine, then your large intestine, then it hits your liver works on it, then it goes back into circulation, and your kidneys work on it. So anything in front of the kidneys, which is the liver and the large intestine, small intestine, and the stomach, if you have a deficiency anywhere there, so if you're eating the wrong things, or if your microbiome's all messed up, or if your liver's not working well, your kidneys are carrying the balance, the load. So when you're taking drugs, pharmaceutical, over-the-counter, prescription, whatever.
Illegal.
Okay. It puts burden, a stress on your kidneys. They're having to deal with it.
Right. So Maya has a question. Hope I said that right. Are swollen ankles a kidney issue?
Maybe. Edema is one of those type of things, edema, swollen. It could be. It could also be a circulatory problem, heart problem, right? Like if your heart is not working well enough, if your lymphatic system is not moving well enough. So if you're mostly sedentary and not circulating the lymph, you could be swelling up because the lymph is not moving, or because the kidney is not coping, or because the heart's not coping.
So is one thing that you could do is put your feet up.
That's for sure. Good point.
If you're watching TV, just put your feet up on the couch and put some pillows there and get it above. So you've got the moving, because all of us are standing up. So everything goes down. The feet are as far down as it can go. So put your feet up and, 10 or 15 minutes, let it all kind of go the opposite direction for a while.
Of course. And try and walk, exercise, maintain your fitness. I don't know. Find out what else is going on. There may be more to it. Like, don't let me diagnose you over the telephone. Right. I don't have the license to do it. I don't want to do it. And all I can give you is ideas.
Which is a great segue to, if you head to Life Enthusiast, you can set up a free 15-minute consultation with Martin, and you can talk about all your problems and your issues, and he can help you hopefully get through them. And so going back to Rita, she put another couple comments in here. She says, I took too much zeolite. Well, if you took too much zeolite and you feel fine and you don't have a runny nose like I did, you didn't take too much, because you're able to.
Look at this. 3 tablespoons. That's like 12 teaspoons, 9 teaspoons. That's like pushing it up too much.
So taper down.
Okay.
But one of the things that we always do in our lives, doesn't mean we think people should do it, is push the envelope, right? So you've pushed the envelope, and now you need to evaluate it, right? Like, how am I feeling? How am I doing, right? If you're feeling miserable, then that's too much. If you're not, then maybe that's okay.
All right. Well, so let's get into the. Oh, go on.
She said, plus I have swollen ankles, so I'm watching. Feet up.
All right.
See what happens. All right. So kidney disease has 5 stages. So Martin, why don't we take a couple minutes and just kind of go through
those.
This
thing is measured by, it's called EGFR, right? Which is estimated glomerular filtration rate. And glomerular is a word that I struggle to pronounce. But that's just simply is a measure of, and it's estimated. What they do is they say age, mass, as in how heavy you are, how much muscle you have, and they look at the number of or measure of the creatinine being filtered out of your body. And they estimate what your milligrams per minute of whatever is. So the rate, there's a number. They will put a number on your kidney blood test, and the number will be anywhere between 0 and about 120. If you're 120, you are in awesome shape. If you're above 90, you're perfectly healthy. If you're above 60, they call it stage 2 kidney disease. You're not right, but you're functioning. It's fine. There's nothing too serious about it, but you're not as good as the person who's at over 90, which they call stage 1 kidney disease, but it's not disease. It's just stage 1. They should have called it 0 or nothing. I don't know. Anyway, so now you're in stage 3, which is between 30 and 60, and they split it in half, call it 3A, 3B, and they start telling you that you need to change your lifestyle, that you need to start reducing certain minerals because your kidneys can't cope.
Martin, can I jump in here for just a second?
Oh, please.
Because I think that you hit on something that's really, really important. We're always told to change our lifestyle late. I'm not going to say too late, right? Like, but one of the things, like people ask me, like, we have a line, Exsula Superfoods, right? And you know, I get a bottle pretty much every month.
Yep.
And I'm constantly taking it. I rotate through different types, like Strataflora because of the gut health, and Lazarus for the kidneys, and Iridessa, that's sort of the general one. And I love them. And one of the reasons that I love them is I notice a big difference in my energy levels, in particular, my clarity of thinking, and different when I don't have it. Whereas for years and years and years before we met, I would try stuff and then I wouldn't try it for 6 months. I never noticed any difference. The first time I didn't have a bottle of Iridessa, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? And then I realized, oh, I haven't had this for a while. And so the point being is that there are things that you can do long before you have a problem. So it really is, this is the problem, right? When it's a sunny day, nobody prepares for a hurricane. Hurricanes are on my mind right now, right?
But, well, it's really hard to sell umbrellas on sunny days.
It really is. But walking around Playa del Carmen was very interesting because there were like 3 types of stores or shops or restaurants, right? There was the one that was running around with a bunch of carpenter guys hammering away to put plywood in front of the windows. And there was kind of this beehive of energy going on, or ant energy, you know, people running around. And then there was restaurants that were open like nothing's going to happen. And then there was, I forget the third one, but the restaurants that were open like nothing was going to happen were very interesting because they had basically something you couldn't see unless you really looked for it, which was hurricane-proof door, like these sliding down doors, right? That would, they were metal, anything could bang against it, wasn't going to affect the inside or blow the place up or anything. So they had prepared decades ago for this thing that happens once every 5 or 10 or 20 years, and they had no problem. So they were open. They think, you know, want to have breakfast, sure, you know, all the rest of it. These other ones were running around like crazy, you know. And then, of course, there was the people that just did nothing, and they're going to be totally blown away when it actually hits. So really, you know,
you're talking about prevention. You're talking about what we can do to stay ahead of it, and that's really what we should be talking about, right? Like, I can tell you the same thing your doctor will tell you, which is your albumin is high, your creatine is high, or you have too much glucose in your urine. Here's a really, really important point, which is this. When you overdo starch as in grains, potatoes, wheat, corn, that sort of stuff, when you overdo that relative to what your body can handle, you will end up with too much glucose in circulation. And your pancreas releases insulin trying to bring it down. Insulin resistance is the next thing that's going to happen, because when there's more glucose in circulation than what the cells can reasonably consume, to describe it, insulin is the messenger. It comes along with the glucose and says at the door of the cell, knock, knock, glucose, let it in. And on the inside, there's the opposite, the doorman that says, come on in, bring it on. Well, once you have all the glucose you can handle, the answer is no, go away. And that's medical insulin resistance. And then it goes into your liver, fatty liver, and then it's translated into fat, right? Like it gets deposited into the adipose tissue around your belly, kind of thing. But if the rate is too high, you're going to end up at the door of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and you'll be urinating glucose, extra load on your kidneys, and all of that. So we need to work on the diet. The diet has to be right.
Right. And if you've been watching us, you know that everybody has certain individual characteristics when it comes to diet. So
Right.
if the banana diet doesn't work, doesn't mean the pineapple diet will work, doesn't mean the carnivore diet will work. It means you need to figure out your metabolic typing, and that's a story for another day.
Right.
So Martin, I can't remember where we were on stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of kidney failure.
I think that who cares, right? Like if you're stage 3A, you have to change your lifestyle. 3B, you really have to change your lifestyle. If you're below 30, you are in trouble. And if you're below 15, that's stage 5, you're in medical care. Like you blew it.
Right.
So stage 5, the only thing I have for you is the Ionic Foot Spa, which is a borrowed third kidney. If you're in stage 4, which is between 15 and 30, still use that. It's not cheap, but use it because it works, and be on the right diet, which is, you need to be watching some foods. Like, for example, high protein is problematic when your kidneys are in trouble. So you need to go on a diet that's close to vegetarian, that's close to ketogenic, low starch and low meat. So mostly salads type of things with olive oil and coconut oil and butter. That's it. Like you're making your world smaller the sicker you get.
Right. And you're always going to make your word smaller because we live in a world of abundance. Unfortunately, most of the abundance when it comes to food is super high processed foods. That's like eating cardboard or wood. Not going to do you a lot of good. So Martin, we're getting towards the end of our time. Before we go though, I wanted to talk with you about some of the foods that people can eat that are known for their kidney detoxifying benefits. And we've got a list of 10. Well, this is kind of like a speed round. I'll just give you the name and then you can comment.
Let me just say a couple of things. Here's how you know that something's off. It's the smell and the color of your urine. So if you're not overdosing on vitamin B, because vitamin B will make your urine yellow, it will change color. The darker your urine, the more you have to drink. It's supposed to be almost clear, almost water. If you have burning at urination, it's probably too acid and you need to worry about what you're eating. It's probably too concentrated. You're not drinking enough and you're eating stuff that's making you overly acidic. Also, some people will get really smelly urine eating asparagus. So if it's not asparagus and your urine is smelly, you need to worry about that. Those are the signs, right? You may have bacteria that will make it smelly. You may have too much protein that will make it smelly. Too much protein will also make it foamy. It looks like you put soap in your urine. It's just going to be foaming in the bowl. So you need to worry about that. Cloudiness, that's another issue, right? If it's cloudy, there's stuff coming through that's just not right. So now going back to the whatever it is that you wanted to talk about, which is the healthy foods.
Let's start with number 1 on my list, cranberries.
Yes, all the berries, cranberry, blueberry, all of the berry, all the pigments. They're important and wonderful. Cranberry is the famous one for pushing urination. It's highly acidic and it will just push you. Yeah.
Right. So number 2 is blueberries. We'll just skip that one. Apples.
Right. Yep.
Rich in fiber, anti-inflammatory compounds.
Yep, right. Apples are
garlic, one of my favorites.
Yeah. Sulfur, antibacterial. It's really the Jewish penicillin. I'm Jewish. It's my penicillin.
Right. Add garlic, get a garlic crusher thing and just add it to anything that you want.
Well, and onion, of course. Both garlic and onion are
That's number 7.
health foods.
So what's the difference between, cooking garlic and onions? Like onions, for example, onions, right?
Yeah.
I'll fry up some onions and then I'll put an egg in it. It becomes part of like an omelette-y type of thing. Is it better to have raw onions or cooked onions?
Well, raw onions are hard to take.
They are.
You can chop some onion, put it in your guacamole at a reasonable amount. Like, don't push it, right?
Okay. Cauliflower.
Yeah, healthy.
Red bell peppers. That's one of those nightshades you keep talking about.
You know what's interesting is that the potassium mineral is important and hard to acquire. And bell peppers are of the most high potassium vegetables available. Well, they're actually fruit, if you really want to get specific.
Right.
But anyway.
So I worked with a gal when I was working at a grocery store, and she was in the meat department, and she came to work one day and she was so excited because her potassium levels were excellent. And she says, I eat green peppers and red peppers every day. And she was just beaming with joy about her potassium levels.
Yeah, which is great because potassium versus sodium is the important thing. Potassium pump, remember that thing, is regulating the toxic levels of stuff inside cells versus outside cells. It's a detox system.
Right. And we don't get enough of it. So cabbage is number 8 on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. All the cruciferous, right? You mentioned cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, bok choy, su choy, that whole sprouts. Yeah. The whole cruciferous thing is good stuff.
And then we talk about this all the time. Olive oil, the oils.
Yeah.
The healthy
you need oils. You need good oils.
So olive oil with coconut oil,
butter,
avocado oil, butter. Yeah. One of the best things ever once I got chatting with you was the fact that I'd go for butter. And I just loved the butter. I could put butter on stuff. Oh, great. Yeah. And of course, we have to say butter and margarine are not the same. They try to make them look the same and taste the same and everything else.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Can't believe it's not butter. Like, stay away from that stuff. Processed foods, bad. Fish, rich in omega-3s. So...
Okay, so here's an interesting sidebar. Rita just jumped in with, I can't handle garlic. It gives me heartburn. You know, about 4% of the population have a sulfur absorption problem. So you may be one of the 1 in 25 who has this, and I can't do much for you. You could try buying deodorized garlic, which is on the market. They will call it allicin, ALLICIN. And you could possibly supplement that way. Yeah, don't eat it. If it's hurting you, do not do it.
Right. So one of the things, this is a day of cliches, let me say, but one of the things that you always say, Martin, and I don't know, I think we need to say it like almost every show, and that is, when you're in a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging. So if somebody says garlic is great and you have garlic and you find yourself at the bottom of a hole, don't have any more garlic.
Yes,
totally. It's just,
if somebody calls it health food and it's not helping you, it ain't your health food.
Right. Okay, so I said earlier we're near the end, but 3/4 of an hour. It's a bit longer than normal for us, but there's a few.
You picked a huge topic.
I did.
Anyway, here's another one. I'm so allergic to onion and bell pepper. Well, there goes, right?
Yeah, don't eat it. Find some other way. But the thing is if you know you're allergic to onion and bell pepper, you also know that you need to look for other ways to get those nutrients from them, right? And that could be a supplement of some sort.
Yeah. Sulfur is easily available from MSM, which stands for methylsulfonyl methane. We sell it. It's readily available. Bell pepper, if you have a problem with it, you may have problem with the entire nightshade family. Solanaceae, they include all peppers, potatoes, tomatoes, and eggplants, and a few other things. Tobacco's on that list. So if you're allergic to them, then, or at least intolerant of them, then you're going to have to find alternatives.
Right. Rita, you have helped me a lot today. Thank you, Rita.
Hey.
Don't forget to make a like if that's not you. Or you're on YouTube, it still counts, even if it doesn't get counted on here.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go, Martin, we want to quickly go through a couple other products that we think are really important for the liver. And you talked about this one, the Ionic Spa foot bath, in the
You need to drain the stuff out of the body that you can't handle. Otherwise, it's there's a lot of controversy about this Ionic spas. There are people who tell you that it's all bunk, that it's nonsense. And there have been some people selling it on the basis of, look how much dirt it's pulling out of you, because the water in the tub is going to be really ugly looking. Don't panic about that. Some of that dirt comes from the water itself. Some of it comes from inside of you.
Right. And if you go to the comments, you'll find these in the comments. The next one is my favorite, and that is the Exsula SuperfoodsLazarus.
Yeah.
And Lazarus was made specifically to help the designer with his kidney problems.
Yeah. Yeah, and there goes. This thing is actually strengthening the function of both the pancreas and the kidneys, and it also is helping with sarcopenia, which is essentially the muscle wasting of people who don't do well. When people get older or function goes down, they start losing muscle mass. And Lazarus is specifically very good at restoring that back together. Which is important because, remember, more muscle mass, more storage for glucose, and better creatine production.
Cool. And the third one we wanted to talk about was Andreas seeds, their black sesame seed oil.
Yeah, this one is underappreciated. So this is not the black seed, not black cumin. This is black sesame. And sesame is specifically, it's a broad spectrum affair. It is good for kidney and heart, and it's also antiparasitic, and it also stimulates circulation and nerves and all of that. It does many things, and your body is complex. This is one of those things that when you start using it, you will feel better overall.
Awesome. All right. So we had mentioned earlier that we're going to stay on the air after we actually say we're off the air. So when we go off the air, don't necessarily go away. But if you have any questions regarding your health that you want to ask Martin, this is a good time to do it. And I also want to do a quick shout out to if you go to this URL, and I'm going to put it into the comments, you can set up a 15-minute time to talk to Martin personally about your issues and go through it, because we really are here to be of service to you and to help you. And
here's an important selling point of that. We give away the first 15 minutes. So if you want to stay on and keep talking, well, we'll start charging you. But the first 15 minutes is on the house.
Right. And a lot of what we talk about on Facebook and YouTube and other places is, let's just say, sanitized so that we don't get banned. And every Sunday you can join us at t.me, which is Telegram/Life and Co, LIFENTCO. And I'm going to put that into the comment box as well. So join us at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, and Martin will be talking about things that he's not allowed to talk about on the mainstream places.
Right. And if you're really curious about health, I've done maybe 2.5 years of Sunday talks there. So there's probably 150 of them. I bet you 2 or 3 of them are really appropriate to what your situation is calling for.
Right. Awesome. So, Martin, any last words before we sign off?
Kidneys, important. I can't. Oh, you know what? Two things: lemon juice, rich in potassium, and parsley tea, green parsley tea, and making tabbouleh salad, which is typical tabbouleh salad is green parsley, tomato, bell pepper, green onion, olive oil, salt, lemon juice. The healthiest way you can live in the summer.
Everything.
And normally it's done with wheat berries called bulgur. I make mine with quinoa.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Martin, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to share this information with everyone. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now. All right.
Questions? Anybody?
Yes. We have 20 or 30 people that are watching, so hopefully some of you have some questions.
Well, I'm glad to find out that when we're broadcasting on a holiday, non-work day, we actually get visitors. Maybe we need to be broadcasting after hours. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
By the way, in comments, is it that you're here by chance, or is it that you're here because you can't watch it live on a work day?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. That's a really good question. And if you have a time or day that you would prefer, you might as well pop that in too. We're here to listen.
Yeah.
And so, Martin, of the Exsula products, if somebody's wanting to start a fitness routine, go to the gym, do the weights, which of the superfoods would you say would be ideal?
Well, if you're making smoothies, zoetin is great because it's not made with a focus on flavor. It's made with a focus on nutrient value. So if you're going to throw it into something that has blueberries, apples, something else nice that's going to make the taste palatable, then zoetin is awesome.
Right.
If you're going to use it plain in water, then Powertin is better because it's been made. It's similar. It's still protein drink with all these good things in it that's going to help you build muscles, but it's made with taste as a concern.
So would you say the zoetin is more powerful than the Powertin?
It's better value for the money. It's $40 less.
Okay. Cool. Well, we have some questions, so we're going to deal with that. You had asked a question. We'll answer that question first. Sedona Window Blind said, saw email live now and clicked on link. Had no idea you were doing this.
Well, welcome back, or welcome to us. Yeah, hope you liked it.
And Dee Dee says, thank you, guys. Thanks, Martin.
Yeah.
And Maya says, I was recently diagnosed with chronic inflammation of gallbladder. What can I do? I'm in Hawaii.
Okay, Mia, this is not that difficult. 3 things, right? An apple a day. Malic acid is in apples. You can buy potassium malate as a supplement, or you can get apple juice, apple cider, that sort of stuff. Drink lots of that. That will help soften the forming gallstones, if they are. You need to change your diet. If you're eating wheat, if you're eating gluten, get that out of your lifestyle 100%, because it's creating inflammation. And then there are some supplements we have. There's a product called Glytamin, Glytamin. It's a suppository inserted rectally, and it will help dissolve already formed blobs of the stuff that we call gallstones. And then there's a herb called chancapiedra, which in Spanish stands for rock crusher, and it essentially breaks up the stones.
That's a great name. I just seen if she made anything. Okay, so HK, do you have recommendation for reversing stage 2? Watching because not at work today. Thank you for that feedback.
Okay. Well, stage 2 is a nothing. Stage 2 is you are 60
Stage
to
2
90.
of kidney disease.
Yeah, I get that. I understood. Meaning that your EGFR is between 60 and 90. So all the good things we talked about, exercise, lymphatics, diet that's healthier, just the general lifestyle good things. If you want specifics, I have, you're welcome. I don't know Hawaiian for you're welcome. We have a product. It's a tincture. It's called Kidney Bladder Ease. It's a herbal tincture. You could use that. That's going to lift your kidney function. And if you feel like doing yourself a lifestyle upgrade, Exsula Lazarus, it's an awesome product. It's not cheap, but it just is really, really good at improving the function.
Yeah, I took it every month for a year.
Yeah,
when I was getting over my liver problem.
Yeah, you were far down. I mean, what did you lose? About 100 pounds?
Yeah. Well, and I was 5 weeks laying in a bed in a hospital with tubes coming out of me. So
you were down.
I told my mom, go talk to a grave digger because tomorrow you're going to need them. So, and Rita says, I'm eating 2 apples a day because I can't lose weight or urinate right. That's why I'm also taking zeolite, also trying to raise brown fat, hence the apples.
That should be hence with a C. The brown fat versus the white fat, right? This is the adipose tissue. The brown fat is the healthy fat. The white fat is the undesirable. I would say it's a dietary, right? Like there's something going on about can't lose weight. Well, you need to get clear about your body type. Your endocrine dominance drives how you gain weight and lose weight. The other main driver is presence of toxins. So there's that zeolite is on the right path. There's something in your body that's causing you to hold on to both fat and water. So I don't know. Well, we should talk.
Yeah. And our friend Sedona Window Blinds loved it. I buy from you all the time. And then she says, by the way, this is who I really am.
Okay, Smart Windows Creations. Does it mean that this is Windows Blinds, or is this
glass that turns dark when you want it to turn dark?
Yeah, who knows? Or
who knows?
Or displays in retail stores.
Oh yeah, smart TVs, smart windows. Science fiction is no longer science fiction. It's just prediction of the future.
Yeah, interesting.
So everybody, we are in our after hours. We're taking questions about any sort of health issues that you may have or may want to talk to about with Martin. But we want to remind you that if some people, it's private, I don't want anyone to know sort of thing, and this is going out to the whole world, but you can contact him and set up a 15-minute interview that's no charge, talking about your health issues. The link is in the comments. You just have to scroll down and find it. And it is blinds and shades. Cool. Smart blinds and shades. Excellent.
Awesome. Well, we allow free advertising on our channel. Anybody in Sedona, Arizona, please contact our friend. She deserves your business.
Right. And just go on YouTube, look for Sedona Windows Blinds, and you'll see her. Cool. All right. So if there was one thing you would tell people who have good kidneys what they should do to make sure they remain good, what would it be, Martin?
Do not take ibuprofen, aspirin, Tylenol, all that stuff that your kidneys are going to have to filter. So the reason you will want to not take them is because you will not be in pain. The reason you will not be in pain is because you will maintain a healthy lifestyle. So you start with the 4 things: toxicity, malnutrition, stagnation, and trauma. Resolve all of that. You need to resolve whatever reasons you may have to take the drugs. You don't want to take them because they are toxin-based substances, all of them. Anything that comes with a prescription pad or comes from a pharmacy is not a build-up. It's a push-down. It's a burden on your body, not a contribution in the sense of making you healthier. It's just stopping symptoms from bothering you.
That's a great way to put it. Stopping symptoms from bothering you is the same as when you're chewing gum and you're driving your car and that really irritating little engine light comes out. So you take the gum out, stick it over the light so you can't see the light.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
That and a prayer, and you may get to your destination.
Yeah. So continuing our advertising of windows in Arizona, look for Smart Window Creation, Sedona, Arizona. I love Sedona. It's one of my favorite areas.
It's
walking
awesome.
and it's just awesome.
Yeah,
It's
they
awesome.
have these red rocks just outside of town. It's just, yeah, really.
Vortexes. Rita has a comment or question. I found out all forms of stevia, which I took for a good portion of 10 years, has wreaked havoc with my system and is actually banned in 1991. I didn't know that. So many are suffering, including me. I stopped using it.
Yeah, Rita, I feel so sad about that, where a lot of these artificial sweetener inventions, there are all these different things. First, we started with xylitol, and then with erythritol, and then we came up with the artificial ones like, first it was aspartame, and then sucralose. These things are, and then the other new one, HFCS, high fructose corn syrup. These things are used to allegedly reduce calories in things that taste sweet. I mean, we humans, we enjoy sweetness on our tongue. So I promise you, I would just as soon eat sugar than anything artificial, including stevia. Yeah.
Martin, you remind me of coconut oil. Coconut oil was used for years and years and years. And when you're frying in coconut oil, because it has medium chain fatty acids, it doesn't break down and become rancid the way the seed oils and canola oils and vegetable oils that we use.
Yeah, it has a high tolerance for heat. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but then the palm oil syndicate wanted to take over the market. So they published all these things saying how bad coconut oil was. And now, of course, everyone's realizing that research was wrong, and palm oils may or may not be that good for you.
Palm oil is not bad. All fruit oils, which is olive, coconut, palm, and avocado. Remember, these are fruits, not seeds. And they seem to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So oftentimes what happens is things that are not bad get run through the gossip mill. And everyone believes they're not bad, and you kind of have to sort of do your own research on it.
Yeah.
So Maya has an interesting comment here. Recently, New York dentists use hydrogen peroxide to irrigate my mouth when doing dental work. It irritated my throat and made me feel nauseous. A question about the procedure. What are your thoughts?
All right. So that was a temporary problem that went away. Hydrogen peroxide will release the equivalent of ozone, active singlet oxygen, which is essentially bleach, right? It's a bleaching action. And the reason you're using this hydrogen peroxide, because it's inexpensive and it's injecting a substance, the singlet oxygen, that kills all microbes. So this irritation that you experienced was inconvenient but temporary. Your body knows how to deal with it using antioxidants. If you gargled with vitamin C afterwards, you would have probably been over the trouble in just an hour or two. And of course, the doctor should have been smart enough to know physiology and just say, oh, yeah, this is what we have done is we pushed the oxidation too far. We now need to do the antioxidation, reduce it.
And she says it was my dentist, not the New York dentist. I should have picked.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, the corrections. Doesn't matter. I don't care where it is. What
Allison
about,
wants to know about monk fruit. I
yeah,
don't even know what monk
well,
fruit
monk
is.
fruit is a sweet tasting powder. We have it in many of our concoctions. Like, for example, the entire RDT line, which is Chinese herbal tonic preparations, are sweet adjusted using monk fruit. It's it's a real fruit, vegetable, whatever the thing is, and it's not cheap, so you can't use a lot of it, but corrects a lot of things that are too bitter to manage and makes them palatable. No problem with it.
And that's one of the issues. You know, if it's really good for you, the chances are you need to develop a taste for it. And if it's if it's not, chances are it's been designed to be addictive as opposed to being healthy. So
Yeah,
Rita says, agreed, it's no good, neither is monk. Paleo
interfering
mom.
interfering with the hormonal stuff. You see, like when you stop the menstruation, that's probably somehow causing a rise in estrogen, right? Like, remember, um, women are such complex creatures, right? They have this uh, 2 weeks to ovulation spike, post ovulation, and then menstruation, right? The first half is driven by estrogen, then there's a massive spike, and then progesterone comes in and prepares the body for the next pregnancy if it's going to happen, right? And so it's always it's sort of like an engine, right? Up down, cycling through these different things. Now, a lot of plants, but especially seeds and nuts, have this xenoestrogen present in them. It's called xenoestrogenic effect. When you overdo seeds or nuts, you end up with too much estrogen, and it will throw things out of balance, turning men into girls, having them grow breasts and losing their testicles, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't sound very much fun.
Well, it's a problem, right? Like too much of a good thing. And by the way, there's a real quick little hack for seeds and nuts. Soak them. When you soak them, they start sprouting, and the moment they start sprouting, this xenoestrogen effect is blocked.
Let's talk for a minute about the difference between a nut or a seed that's just sort of laying there waiting to do its thing, which is sprout, and a sprouted thing.
Whew, okay. Well, so you have 3 levels of sprouting, right? Like, you soak it, which is just the initial phase where the germ just pops. That's like waking up. Then, if you leave it longer, then the sprouting begins, and you go first phase. You have maybe the first ½ inch of the germ coming up, and then that's still called sprouted grain. And then you have actually just waiting now, sprouting and running at some height. Like, if you do wheat, it's about 7 inches. If you do alfalfa, it's about 3 or 4 inches tall. But the point is this: to a certain point, all of that growth is driven by what's contained in the seed. So you have now taken all the stored life force that the plant has pushed into the egg, which in a plant world is called the seed. And now that you've woken it up with heat, water, moisture, and light, it starts going. And the first phase is completely driven by the material contained in the seed. So you have now released this life force, and the tip of the growing part is just loaded with enzymes. So I can't tell you that there is anything healthier on the planet than this stuff to eat.
So, because we've been talking this whole time about kidneys and stages of disease and all the rest of it, and it occurs to me that one of the things that people rarely eat are sprouted foods, and it's so easy to do. Alfalfa sprouts or broccoli sprouts or garlic. If you can't get garlic, if you can't eat garlic, or you're allergic to it or whatever, could you try
Not sure
garlic?
if the sprouts will be better. Not sure.
Not sure, but it's something for you to try, right?
Yeah, you bet.
And
try green onion sprouted. Like you can take the big yellow onion, put it in a bit of water, just put it in a glass with the roots touching water. It'll start growing the green shoot. Eat that.
Yeah. And it's, we keep talking about, the news keeps talking about inflation and how expensive everything is and all the rest of it. And you can get a few of these seeds and you can sprout them, and it's pennies for the amount of nutrition that you're going to be getting.
True enough.
Yeah.
Sprouted lentils, sprouted buckwheat, sprouted, I don't know, you name it.
Yeah.
Anything. Chickpeas. Sprouted chickpeas are awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's getting late, isn't it?
It is, but we have a bunch of people still here, even though most of them are quiet. So
July 4, Independence Day. Let's put some fireworks up.
So let's do this. Let's try this again. We only had one person say that they came here because it was July 4th and they didn't have to work. We usually run this at 2 p.m. Eastern time, whether it's standard or daylight. Would you prefer us to be like 5 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock Eastern? Doesn't matter to Martin because he's on the West Coast and that's still nice in the afternoon. Put it in the comments and let us know. We want to know what you think.
Or write to us if you're watching this on a recording.
Yeah. Well, and if it's a recording and you comment, I'll get it.
Okay. Well,
I think we're just about done. I can't think of another question, and we've been 1 hour and 11 minutes, so
yeah,
it's almost 45 minutes longer than we planned. But we're here for you, and if you have any questions, put them in, and we'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, I'm committed to paying it forward.
Yeah, me too. All right, going once, going twice. Thanks for hanging in there, everybody. And see you next week. Bye for now. Oh, hold it. 2 comments at the last moment. Late in the day is best. Thank you.
HK, whoever you are.
I got Martin's email and found it was 2 minutes to your time. Talk about getting it right at the nick. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Where do you find the recordings, says Miss Sedona. Well, so
here. Where do you find the recordings? Right here. Or you find it at lifeenthusiast.com.
Yeah. So listen, there are, yes, Mia. Yeah, I know. You're 2 hours younger than me. There is a podcast section on life-enthusiast.com with 400 plus episodes that you can dive into. There is a Telegram, what's it called? Telegram channel, LIFENTCO, with 200 episodes. There is a YouTube channel called LIFENTCO, which is also, I don't know. It's a little less rich because they really put a lid on us. We can't hear you, Scott.
Lots of places to see us. Wherever you see us now, if you just click on the channel name or the link below the title, usually it'll take you to where you can see a lot more. But life-enthusiast.com is the best place to go because that's where we put everything, and we're not censored on our website, right? And it's amazing to me the amount of censorship that's still going on. And banning that's still going on. It's just outrageous.
Yeah. It's a funny story for me because I was a refugee. It was called Escaped. I became a refugee in 1976, leaving the communist-controlled Czechoslovakia because I knew I would be in trouble. I'm unable to color within the lines, so to speak. It's hard to control me. Independence, right? Today is very appropriate day to discuss that. Anyway, I went and I left so that I sought freedom of expression, the Fifth Amendment, the being able to express myself without fear, right? And the famous First Amendment, freedom of speech. Like that was a big deal to me. Well, right. Apparently that sort of holds, but not much, because in commerce, when you're dealing with a corporation, they can tell you how they want to run their show. And so now that we have these monopolistic, market-dominating entities, they are acting exactly like Big Brother. If you really want to know what we've got going, read the book 1984 by George Orwell.
So segueing back to questions, Arantha says, recovering from colon surgery, what's the best I can do? My stomach has enlarged, low urinary output, weight gain, no chemo needed.
All right. Well, we have two products. One is called Strataflora, and the other one's called Elagiplex. I could think of a third one called Exsula Premium. These are all Exsula branded products that we make ourselves, and these are designed to help the body restore itself. On the really mild side of things, we have a product called lecithin and high pectin apple fiber. Those two things are going to help soothe the terrain and work it through, and then you can get the Strataflora in, and then the Premium, and then finally Elagiplex. The Elagiplex is designed to help the body sort out the normal, not normal cells, tell apart what is healthy and what is not. And stomach enlarged and all of that. Well, we need to figure out what's functioning and what's not. You probably should have a digestive enzyme. You probably should have more salt, more iodine, more vitamin B1 to just do better digestion. We have a product called HCL Guard. You may want to take a look at that, because there's a lot that is packed into that simple question. That problem that you had is a tail end of a fairly large issue that took decades to develop.
So this would probably be a good time to just jump in and say that we do have a link in the comments for if you want to set up a 15-minute free consultation with Martin. Sometimes you have complex problems that need, more fleshing out, more questions answered than we may have time to do here.
There are support people on our website at the chat line. These are not some machines. These are actual educated, trained folks. So don't hesitate to start typing or phone.
What's the number?
866-543-3388.
Easy to remember.
Yeah. It actually stands for LIFEMTT or something like that.
It'd be beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. And make sure you come back next Thursday at 2 Eastern, 2:35 Eastern, and 11:35 a.m. Pacific. And we'll email everybody if and when we decide to change.
We'll be here if the creek don't rise on my end, or if Scott's house doesn't get blown down by the big bad wolf.
The hurricane is coming to Playa del Carmen, and we can't wait.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Please call me when it's over, Scott.